Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Report, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Let's take a look at some stocks on the move today in Europe. I'm Stephen Carroll with Lizzie Burden, and we're joined by Bloomberg reporter Chloe Mele for more. Chloe, good morning. Let's start with Universal Music Group. Subscription revenue growing more than expected. What's going on?
It reported revenue ahead of expectations for the third quarter, and that's thanks to two things in particular. So the omnipresent Taylor Swift with really strong sales of her latest album, and then also a really strong performance of the soundtrack album for the hit Netflix film KPop Demon Hunters, which I've not seen, but apparently it was really huge, and so that really boosted the shares this morning after quite an uneven performance over the last few months. Universal is in quite an interesting position of having to adapt to the disruption to the music industry created by AI, of course. So instead of fighting against it, it's actually decided to join forces with an AI music startup to collaborate on a new music creation and streaming service, which essentially will automate that music making process with a tool that is trained on licensed music from artists. So it's doing that. It's also signed a partnership with Spotify to develop what it has called responsible AI products that respect artists' copyright. So something definitely to watch going forward, because all of that is really likely to reshape the music industry in quite significant ways, and labels have to find a way to protect themselves against those AI songs taking that market share.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I've also not watched KPop Demon Hunters, by the way, but I have listened to a very long podcast discussing Life of a Showgirl, so I feel fully up to date on the cultural analysis of Taylor Swift's latest album.
Absolutely no shame there from Stephen Carroll. I want to take it back to safer territory. Bank earnings. Erste raising its outlook for a year end. Of course, they're out of Austria. What are the updates from them?
So they raised their net interest income and their capital guidance this morning, which moved the shares higher, with analysts noting that a strong capital position and also improving profitability for Erste. So it's essentially building up its capital cushion to help it fund the acquisition of Santander's operations in Poland. So this is a deal that was announced in May. It's buying those Polish operations for about 7 billion euros, which makes it its largest deal ever. So it's looking to pay for the transaction with in a few different ways. So with internal funds, so by retaining earnings and also temporarily reducing payouts to investors. But then it's also freeing up capital by offloading risks related to a corporate loan portfolio that's worth more than 10 billion euros. So it seems that the plan to fund the acquisition is being taken quite well by investors, even though it does involve having to reduce some payouts. The net interest income guidance boost is also quite reassuring, and it really confirms that lending volumes are quite strong in markets like Czechia and Slovakia as well. So it's overall quite a positive update from Erste, and that really moved the shares this morning.
Finally, Chloe, we're going to talk about Puig reporting better than expected third quarter sales.
Yeah, so that is a Spanish company, a Catalan company that makes perfumes.
Did I pronounce that wrong?
Well, I think it's Puig, but I checked. I checked this morning, but I mean, I do not trust me on that. I have no clear idea. But yeah,
I think you're right. Catalan versus Spanish pronunciation. Anyway, carry on.
So Puig. It makes perfumes and makeup, and it reported better than expected sales, and then also upgraded the guidance for the last 3 months of the year. So it said it had actually a really solid start to the fourth quarter, which obviously is the most important quarter for those kinds of companies. And the update also suggested a potential rebound in the fragrances segment, which is very welcome after quite a bit of weakness in that particular division. It's a really important one because it's got quite a much higher margin than that makeup and skincare segments that are growing much faster. So that recovery there in those perfumes is a relief. Some analysts did say that the company did not address any questions about the growth beyond 2025, but for now, investors seem to be happy with the positive 2025 performance.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.